Try. Yeah, we're live. What's up? All right. Maybe I should turn this gate down a little bit. I'll just turn it off for now. So it'll be a little noisy. Maybe I'll bring the gain down a little bit. Check, check, check. That's not too bad. All right. Trying out this new Restream software. Welcome. Let me turn my little light on. There we go. So now you can see my mug a little bit better. And welcome. Happy Father's Day. Oh, excuse me. Grab my coffee here. Cheers to all the dads out there. We got 2 folks on here already. That was quick. And also, thanks to everyone who's subscribed, because I just realized today it hit 200, which I know in the world of YouTube is like tiny. And even if you have like 100,000, I think your ranking's like 170,000 out of a bajillion people. But I'm happy to have 200 people because that's cool that many people are interested in listening to me talk about guitars and gear and keyboards and all kinds of shit. But anyways, yeah, just doing this for fun. Happy to hang with you guys. And let me know in the comments who's here, because I can't exactly see it quite easily. But yeah, let me see if I can bring up. Oh, there we go, Alec. I knew you'd be here, brother. For some reason, the comments aren't showing up in this new app that I'm using, so I'll have to figure that out. Nikki T, I was hoping, you 2 guys are the ones I was hoping would be here the most. Thanks, brother. Because I know we've been talking a lot about Variacs and Midi and all kinds of different stuff, so I'm happy to answer any questions that I can, as best as I can, and maybe even demo some stuff. And if I'm just going to throw this invitation out there, we'll try to make it work. But if either of you guys want to join in, just let me know, and then you can call me on Facebook chat, and then I'll bring you into the stream. So it's not just me talking and drinking coffee and eating biscuits. So just shoot me a message on Facebook, because I'll see it. I've got Facebook up here if you want to join. And let's see, what else do we got going on? So I've got lots of new things going on to try to improve the stream for everybody. As you can see, I've redecorated a little bit. I've got this camera here, my Ecamm now, with the monitor. That was always kind of to my right, but now it's like literally perpendicular to my main iMac over here. And I moved all my Vi, and you can see a couple Satriani guitars, to this wall because A, they're easily accessible for me and they're my favorite to play instead of being behind my desk, and also just because they're going to look cool for the background. And I got this strip light, you can probably see it here, that I haven't quite mounted yet. I literally just got it last night and just rolled it out. You can still see part of the roll. Where is it? Over there. But, whatever. I figured I'd just throw it in there. And for those of you following me on Facebook, you saw we got a new studio desk. So you can see about a third of it right here. So it's got these 3 4U rack space things. And did I get any new guitars out? No, I don't know. I mean, that's bad. It's bad when you have to think about, what new guitars, which new guitars do I have? Are they out? There's none in this room. I'll tell you that right now. The newest guitar, they're in the other room. But, what tablet should you get for the Fishman? I knew you were going to ask me that, Nikki. You just messaged me on Facebook. You can post that in the comments. I was saying if somebody wants to join the call, like audio and video, you can message me on Facebook. That I got on my watch, that notification. So, specs. I have to look back into it. So my Fishman is behind me. I don't know if you can see the box right there. It's back in the box. I don't have it mounted to a guitar. And this is the original one. I know they have a newer one out. I'm trying to remember how it works. But basically, I mean, it's wireless, so you're going to need a host that can read the USB receiver. Yes, I can see the comments on YouTube. I was just saying if you or Alec or somebody wants to join the call live with the audience, then we could do a video call through Facebook. What's up, brother? I see you messaging me. Do you want to join us, Alec? I'm going to message you because I know the video is going to be behind. But for everyone else watching, what's up? We're here to rock. So I'm going to just do a browse through the camera here to show you what we have today. Let me switch over to this stuff. And let's see, we have this. Got the Helix set up here. It's right behind and below the camera. And you see a power cab there in the shot, but that's not the one it's hooked up to. It's actually hooked up to this one, which don't mind the noise. It's because it's digitally zoomed in, so you can get a better view of the panel. But you can see the blue cable, that's L6 link, taking the stereo audio digitally from the Helix into the Power Cab 212 Plus. And those two XLRs are coming out into this Roland VR4 mixer, so you guys can hear it live. Large and in charge. Yes, I can merge you off a Messenger, Alec. Grab your headphones. Let's do it. So I like it when it's more interactive with more people. And Nikki, yes, feel free to keep posting your comments in the tube, and we'll check it out. You don't know how to do that anyway. Okay, looks good. Cool. So let's come back to me. Let's see here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, what's up? So, what else we got going on here? Yeah. So let's, I don't really have much planned. I mean, I have a lot of things that I want to show people on video, but I'm kind of going to let you guys direct where this goes and how long it goes. Because I'm not making any money off this. I'm just doing this because I like to do it, and I'm doing it to help educate you guys. So let me know what you want to see. But basically what I was thinking to do was kind of walk through some Variax Helix Power Cab workflow, so that way you can get an idea of the power of it. And plus, recently, I don't know if those folks are watching, but there were people on these groups that were asking, like, I've got a Variax and a Helix, and, the age-old question, it's usually, what cheap monitoring system should I get? And don't cheapen out on your monitoring system. Not to say there aren't some decent and expensive powered speakers or things like that, but, you just spent, if you bought a Helix and a Variax, you just spent like close to $3,000 or more, depending on taxes and all that jazz, where you're at. So if you go and pick up like $100 speaker, from, Radio Shack doesn't really exist anymore. But if you go get a $100 speaker, you're going to be highly disappointed at doing yourself a disservice. Um, no money. Now you know why I've been pushing the Power Cat lately. Um, yeah, so it's not I'm pushing it. Like I said, I'm not making anything off it, and I don't work for the company anymore. Even when I did, I didn't make it didn't matter to me what you bought because it's not like I was getting compensated for that. I'm just passionate about this stuff, which is why I went to work there in the first place. But hey, there's Alec calling. Let's bring him in. All right. What is up, brother? Let's see. How you doing, man? What's up? Good. We've got your audio in the stream. Let's see here. Oh, you know what I just realized? There we go. Now we've got you in the stream. Now everybody's got my better
Cool.
mic. I was hearing it because I'm monitoring directly off of this, and I just realized I forgot to change my input. How did it sound before? Did it sound like a
That was
built-in
fun.
mic? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
now,
we've got about 80 milliseconds of delay between us all the way to
yeah.
Italy. But
Well, now Nikki can let me know if the sound got better because it should be coming out of this mic right now, and
Nikki T.
they should be hearing you as well. So let me see what's the best way to bring you up on the screen because yeah, I want to let me see here. I want people to see you, man. How you been, by the way?
Oh, really good. I've been messing with the big stomp, the big Helix now,
Nice.
and this thing's just totally changed the game completely.
Yeah, I know you've been like
What else have been up
so.
to? Been really messing around with this plethora here, and that thing is just wow.
Wow. Okay. Well, here everybody can see you in a tiny window now.
Howdy,
I'm
folks.
gonna make you big here. There you go. Is there any way you can go to landscape so we can see you better? Is there your like portrait?
Let me see. How's that?
There we
Does it
go.
hold?
Yeah. Cool.
I've got
Oh,
to
and
hold this thing as I'm charging the phone with a, what do you call it, a contactless battery.
yeah.
She's dead, so
And
see if
now
I
that
can set it down here.
now they've got me in picture too. Actually, I think several times over. Um, yeah, because I don't need my. I guess it's got my webcam on. That's really weird. Anyway, they'll get two views of me. That's cool. So
What's up with this microphone of yours, man?
the pink one.
Yeah.
So this, I'm glad you asked. This is exactly why I got it because it pops out. It's a signature thing, and people will remember it. But it's a great microphone, and it's it's not a cheap microphone. It's a Telefunken M80. Um, I'm gonna pull up the comments here on my phone because you're full screen, and I've got my preview window over here. So don't mind me. I'm not trying to be rude, people, but I just want to make sure that I get all your comments. Do have so many toys. Alec is louder than me, but that's okay. Okay, so thank you for the feedback. So I am going to bring Alec down a little bit. Let me know if that's better, Nikki. So for those on Facebook, I'm sorry I only have the YouTube comments open. Maybe I should open the Facebook comments because I don't want to be rude to those people either. So what do you got cooking over there? I see a guitar. Are you going to play for us?
The usual Variax, actually.
Nice, nice.
And about all that.
Oh, good. No comments on Facebook, so hopefully everybody will just stick to YouTube. Um, that's a 69.
Yeah, this is the second one that I got, actually. I got the original 59p
Yeah.
in black, totally by surprise. And then this one, I got off a guy in England who was selling it, and he was really nice about it. I actually ended up buying a case in Germany, sending it to England to get it. You there?
Yep. Yep, sorry. I was just reading. Nikki said you're still a little
Video's going
bit
crazy.
louder. That's cool. Actually, I was gonna bust out my '69 red one since you probably saw in the group I shared. There's a refurb in the web store for sale.
Yeah, the reverb one.
So
It's an
yeah,
awesome color.
yeah. No, I have one. It's right in this rack behind me. But by the way, which camera is coming through on Facebook? Are you seeing my oh, that's why I'm seeing this
Um,
because this is what you're seeing is my eyesight. But
uh,
everybody else is seeing both because they see the Facebook window and they see my nice camera. Sound is fine. Okay, great.
maybe we should be turning the same way.
Yeah, I missed a call from somebody who tried to call me. Video chat with Nikki. I don't know if we can do a three-way, but we can try. By the way,
We
this
got
is
the
my
bandwidth, yeah.
I don't know if you can see this, Alec. This is my Ibanez Gem timeline mug. How
Oh, wow.
appropriate. Look at you and your Tuscany villa.
Yeah.
I love it, man.
Let
I'm
me show you
jealous
this place.
every time I see
I
your
actually built
pictures.
that bed up there for guests who come by.
Yeah,
It just completely disappears. And so down here, all the lighting is natural from the window.
nice.
And I do all my photography up here as well. So I've got these massive
That's super
lights
cool.
up there. You can see dimming, but it's like daylight in here.
Yeah, so are you predominantly a photographer or more musician or cuz I noticed your
No,
Airbnb listed as
I'm a
a photography
total, yeah,
thing.
photographers and musicians. No, I'm a total techie. I've been doing tech support and stuff like that forever, all my life. Communications engineer. So I used to run the big transatlantic fiber optic systems,
Wow.
like the backbone of the internet, all the
Exactly.
subsea fibers. That was my job back in the day. And since being here, I follow passions, which have always been frequencies. So anything to do with frequency, I'm on it.
Yep.
Be it
Light,
light, be it
audio.
sound,
Yeah.
all
That
of it. So
that's the thing a lot of people that aren't as into it as we are that they miss or don't realize is that everything's just vibrations, right? Just all frequencies.
yeah, absolutely. And how you play with them is what's really interesting. But I don't know, guitars I got into in 2012. Been, I don't know, maybe four attempts in my life to play,
Yeah.
and all of them failed. I never had the time and could never do stuff. And I even got one and ended up giving it to my neighbor's girls,
Mm-hmm.
who just turned 18. And it all started like I went to a big party, and I was always the guy who would hook up the TVs and get everything, a mishmash of the home entertainment units all together, and we'd have a big party
Yeah.
with music outside and all that. And this guy walks up and sticks an iPad in front of me and sticks on this John Butler song,
Oh my gosh.
Ocean. I just went nuts, like completely. I was like, what? That's one guy? Couldn't believe it, like someone hearing Hendrix for the first time. It's the first time hearing this, it just went completely nuts. And from that day on, it's been guitar, 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 guitar. So I went back and got the original Strat copy
Mm-hmm.
from my neighbor. It's been sitting on his shelf for like 13 years, gathering dust.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled that out and struggled for 6 months. It was an SX copy. I don't know if you remember them, but kind
No, I
of
don't remember
70
those.
times worse than a Pacifica, like a 90 buck piece of junk.
It's like the first
And
act
I
of
sat,
back in the day.
yeah, I just sat there struggling with this thing, and the engineering part of my mind was like, well, why would you make a neck like this? Or so from day one, I've been out searching for bigger necks, wider necks, something just to make learning easier. And getting the F chord was impossible on this thing. And eventually, I took it to a luthier, and he said, "You really want me to work on this?" And it's my first guitar. Like, don't give me a hard time. Just can you make it work? And he played it, and it sounded fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait a minute. It's like, why can't I do an F chord? He's like, how long you been playing? 6 months. He's like, oh, just like, no, try it. And the fret was completely mashed. The whole neck was twisted.
Wow.
So I could fret anything, but hitting the F, impossible. Absolutely impossible for the longest time. But I got through it and made it to the F, and finally everything worked. And with that, I said, okay, I'm in. No more messing around. And that was 6 years ago, and I don't know, 8 guitars ago. So
Only eight?
from there, yeah. And I really suck at guitar. It has to be said, but the toys come naturally.
Hey,
So I'm using them to teach me the music.
yeah. We all suck on some level. It's just it's as long as the passion's there, that's all that matters. I mean, that's the whole point of music, right?
Oh,
Having fun,
yeah, no.
communicating.
It gives me a peace of mind and just a place to concentrate the head on just one thing instead of, running businesses and everything else. So
Yeah.
that for me is my escape, and I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. No, me too. I mean, it's I think that's why we get along. We have so much a similar background. I mean, my cable pulling was like in a hospital, not across the ocean, but
Oof,
I was a
yeah,
cable puller at one point. But yeah, communications was my jam in the Marines and beyond. Um, even as a civilian. But so technically, we could be communicating off of the same lines that you ran right now because you're in Europe and I'm in the US.
technically, I would bet we are.
Like
All of
this
the
call
main
is
main
possible
trunks.
because of the work that you did.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
yeah, no, it was a good life. I went all over the world with it, all around South America and across the Andes and everywhere.
Wow,
So
that's
really good.
amazing. So
We,
Nikki
we never
says,
dreamed back then that Facebook would be around, and there was a thought that some super app would come along and
"Oh yeah,
gobble up
totally."
all this bandwidth we put in. But,
Well, my dream in the Marines with my buddy Josh, who was a fantastic organist, keyboard player, um, he and we'd started archiving all our CDs, and we called it the archives, and we were just locked in our barracks room doing that all the time, and it was so much fun. But we had always dreamed of like, man, wouldn't it be great if one day you could have this like portable device that you could access any song in the universe anywhere at any time, because this was before smartphones. I mean, of
yeah,
course, we had the internet and stuff, but I was like, man, that would be amazing. And then you listen to any song you want anytime. It slowly got there, like the iTunes library, and then you could put it on an iPod, and then you could
the old
you
iPods. I
could do
still
the
have some of them.
iTunes
They
match
were
and
the
remotely,
best.
yeah, listen to your stuff. So it's crazy. So Nikki says he had 15 guitars before Variax. And oh, he also said you guys, the cable pullers, routinely do things I never thought possible. Yeah. Yeah.
He has no idea.
Yeah. You got no,
Indeed.
just the tip of the iceberg, brother. Let me grab a pick because I'm gonna. I wanna. Actually, I don't even really need it for right now, but um, yeah. Let's talk some Variacs and power cabs. I'm gonna see if I can. Can I make this like? No, I can only keep it in widescreen. Hopefully that's big enough for everybody. But I'm gonna switch scenes here and go to the Helix. Can you see it? Oh, now everybody can see it. You can't see it though because I'm not screen sharing with you. Here, I can do that actually. Screen two. So now you see what everyone else is
Oh, look at
seeing.
that.
Isn't that amazing? Technology is
Sweet.
amazing. I love it. Like I just installed this the other day, and this is my first time really. Well, my first time using it live, but I've barely played around with it, and it's just like it's called Ecamm Live, as you can see in the little thing. I'm using the Pro trial, so I got that watermark that won't go away. But
I've seen you on their group. Yeah,
oh yeah, that's right. You're in there, right? Are you using Ecamm
yeah.
Live?
No, man, I have a Samsung S8, which is my main camera,
Mm-hmm.
as it has a better front-facing lens than the iPad Pro.
Yeah.
And I do absolutely everything bare bones, and I'm quite happy with that. I've thought about getting in all the camera stuff, but for me, cameras are a totally different thing. I just do stills,
Mm-hmm.
night shots, entertainment, everything. But
Yeah.
I'm used to composing shots in my head in a fixed state,
Yep.
and that's how I see it. And so video is a completely different world, and I'm getting into that. But the main reason why I even started my channel was to get over stage fright and to find your inner voice and just speak. So,
Yeah.
I've been doing this for what, a year now, and it seems just natural to me now. I just jump on the camera and
Yeah.
do stuff. And I actually kind of like the chaotic, non-polished, non-processed view
Gotcha.
that you get out. And I would really love to see YouTube go back to being more of that, where individual people talk and communicate and get together instead of everything being so professionally processed.
Well, that's why I'm like happy to do this. Like, let's just do it. This is more interesting than me sitting here yapping. You know, it's we're
Yeah,
all
I'm sure.
human, and we need the human connection more than ever. So Nikki had pointed out when I switched views that it was hard to hear you. So hopefully they got the important bits of that. I realized I think when I switch scenes, it changes my audio. So let me just do something real quick. And he said you're a giant, which you are
Test,
on
test,
more
test.
levels than one. So hold on a second. No, it looks like. Oh, here we go. No, that's. Looks like my audio's staying the same no matter what I go to. I just turned you up on my USB loopback, so maybe that helped. But yeah, let's take a
That's
look.
good.
Let's take a
How's
look.
it now? Mike's fairly close.
Yeah, Nikki said it's fine now, so I guess we're good. So let's look at the Helix, and let's see. I guess I didn't plan this out to where the mic should be a little closer, so I'm going to mute this and turn up the gain a little bit. Second. Okay, check, check. Okay, so you're gonna hear a little background noise, but that's just so I can be over here. How can you hear me, Alec? Can you hear me pretty good?
You're loud and clear. No problems.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. You're getting.
Zero distortion.
All right, cool. Yeah, so you're getting the same mic everybody else is. Cool. All right, so I've got a blank preset, and I've got the.
Yeah. You still got your head cam mounted? That thing was awesome.
No, those are actually one's on my workbench, and one is looking at the power cab panel right now. But I do have some other GoPros, but I don't know if they'll work that way. That was a real crazy software hack. But let's see, this should be coming into the stream as well, even if I mute, because you know what. You heard that, right? You heard the guitar, Alec? Right?
Yep, here.
Okay.
Yep.
So, let's just start on acoustic because it's got the simplest signal chain. Alright. So, this is just general advice that I give everybody with the acoustic sounds. And Alec, I like to hear what you do for an acoustic sound after this. But this is my go-to. Is I'll do a LA 2A studio compressor. Right? Probably going to be a little too loud there. I'm going to have to regulate the levels after we go here. How's that sound? Is that sounding pretty good, Alec?
Sounds good. A little boomy. What's the guitar you got?
Oh, I've got the 89F. So if we go to,
Oh, okay.
where do we go to? Here we go. JTV 89F. Look at that. This has been my trusty Variax since before I joined the company. And Nicky said he can hear it. Yeah, he needs a third monitor. So do I, as I'm quickly finding out. Okay, so yeah, I like to just put that first to kind of bump up the levels a bit, kind of smooth it all. Yes, it is a great guitar, Nicky. And then what I simply do is I throw a little reverb, and I just like the legacy like hall reverb, right? So you can hear, right? Just gives it a little bit of air. Yeah, there is a little boominess right there. So if you don't like the resonant characteristics of the guitar, then I suggest putting an EQ before the compressor, because the compressor is going to bring up whatever's there all together, right? So I like to put the compressor before, and let me switch back so people can see what we're looking at. I just realized I wasn't showing the helix. All right. So put the EQ here, and mono, of course. And we could do parametric, or we could do 10-band graphic, doesn't matter. We'll do the graphic. So if I pull this out, I'll pull this like way down, just to be a little more drastic. Maybe a little bit better.
That's exactly how I build my presets. Everything right on the unit.
Yeah. The whole editor thing, like, what are you gonna do if you're performing live and you don't have a computer hooked up, right? That's my whole thing, right?
This is exactly my thoughts.
And it's actually way faster. So let me just demonstrate why it's way faster. I don't need a third monitor for HX Edit because I almost never use HX Edit, Nicky. In fact, now that the updates are in HX Edit, I'll be using it more just because I won't go to Line 6 Updater, but I'll just use it to back up, restore, and update the unit. But I never use the editor. So if we go, let me just demonstrate why I think it's way faster. If you just learn to do everything from the unit, just spend like a week or whatever doing it, you'll be flying through this thing. So right now I have it in stomp snap mode. So the top 4 middle switches, excuse my feet, they're not too ugly, but these are stomp switches and these are snapshots. So I don't have anything assigned because it's a brand new preset. So if we just go, and actually I can do it with my feet because it is cap touch sensitive. If I just touch this, then I could say, yep, assign the compressor there, right? I can't, well, I could joystick over, I guess, my feet. People are like, I don't want to see this. Oh, we lost the EQ. That's why I shouldn't do it with my feet. Let's go back to graphic. Here, and pull this down, pull a little bit of that down. Alright, okay. So we can joystick over to the compressor, touch and hold, right? And then put the reverb here, touch and hold. And you can put the things wherever you want. Like if I just touch and hold both of these, I can swap them, right? Alec, I know you know how to do this, but yeah, so So that's now that they're assigned
I've
to
been making a lot of use of the swapping, actually.
yeah, now that they're assigned to stomps, it's like, oh, I want to edit the EQ, touch it. I want to edit the compressor, touch it. I want to edit the reverb, touch it. And then there's all my parameters. So if I'm like, oh, I want to bring the mix up a little bit, bring the decay down, the compressor, maybe the gain's a little too much. Uh, the EQ, maybe I want a little less, 250 hertz, right? It's like so easy. It's as easy as working on a pedal board.
Just hold the mode switch in and go to edit and do everything standing up.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like if you want to. I mean, people are used to bending down to edit their pedals, so that's not too much different. But of course, like Alex said, just hit this. And now you don't even have to worry about stomp assignments because you'll see everything. So I can just say, oh, edit the compressor, and then like here's the gain. I can just do it with my foot. So I can hear the effect as I'm playing it, which is what you want to do. You want to edit with your ears anyway. And I think that's another reason I don't like the editor that much, is because a lot of people, it's like when you mix in Pro Tools with your eyes or whatever DAW you're using, you know, you should be doing it with your ears. So much easier in edit. I beg to differ, Nikki. Maybe I'm just too fat to bend over all the time like that. It's possible. Well, you know what? The thing is, like, if I was actually building sounds, I'm not going to have it on the floor here. I'd probably have it up on the table just so I can do all this with my hands way faster. You know, and then when I'm, like, practicing, you're going through snapshots or something, then I'll put it down on the ground. But I think if, you know, all things equal, right? If you had a Helix on a desk or your mouse and keyboard with the editor on a desk, the unit is going to be way faster. So, anyways.
On a per preset, yes. If you have to do 20 changes, then the editor's faster.
Yeah, if you're trying to do some mass, if you're trying to do like massive reorganization and massive renaming, well, of course, you know. But as far as just like tweaking a preset.
There's no beating doing it by hand.
Yeah, exactly. Keep telling myself that. You need it on the floor because you're practicing all the time. Yeah, go for it, man. To each their own. That's the beauty of this whole system, is that it works however way you want it to work. But in any case, so a lot of people are like, why should I get a power cab? Hold on. He said, the only thing is I like that switching spots for snapshots is so easy on the... Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, the cap touch has a lot of usefulness. So before I go off to the next sound in this preset, Alec, why don't you tell us how you usually build your Helix preset for an acoustic model?
I actually just take the old standard one that comes with the stomp right in the beginning, the little 6-slot one, and do very slight tweaking. But for the most part now, you know Glenn DeLon? You must know Glenn.
Of course.
He actually has an acoustic kit that was made for the Variax, amongst other guitars. So it works with, you know, regular guitar, like this.
Yep.
And it will work with the Variax Sims, or wherever you are, it'll work.
Yep.
And it's got maybe 8 or 9 different presets in it with everything you could possibly want, and they're all IR based. And so I just basically went in there with a knife and hacked and slashed away and cut them down to stomp size, and now I use that for all of my acoustic stuff. And what I'm doing is linking them together, so I jump from a harder sound to a lighter sound to a medium sound to a harder sound to a lighter sound in sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So now, instead of going and hunting for the acoustics. When I want to do acoustics, I take my electric, whack this button
Nice.
right here, and that jumps to the first acoustic in the trail. And from there on, it's just go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one, turn on some delay, turn on chorus,
I love it.
just whack these buttons here, and I'm off downstairs or with headphones or whatever on. I don't even need to see the helix to
Nice.
control it. Just do everything.
Absolutely. No, I love it. I was kind of
Like
doing
this is
some
a maintenance, yeah.
I was doing some stuff like that with the guitar wing, because that's wireless and it gives you some buttons too.
Oh, that thing's
So
cool,
I,
yeah.
I like having that remote controllability. In fact, I think what I should do is probably put the guitar wing back on this thing, and maybe even my actual goal was because this has the ghost piezos in it. I have all the
Ooh, nice.
most of the components I need, but I have all the components from Graphtech I would need to do the GK output. But I wanted to make like just put every piece of guitar tech in one guitar. So maybe I'll have to
That'd be
do that again. But the thing is, like, I mean, the only thing that I'm missing in here is like synth sample type sounds. But as far as like
yeah.
actual stringed fretted instruments, right? Um, oh, why did we go to my desktop? Oh, I moved the focus of the window. Yeah, aside from that, it's Variax has everything I need. So do you usually keep acoustic and electric all in one preset?
Mm, in one piece. Sometimes I mix them, yeah. But it really depends what I'm doing. If it's a massively complex, super big electric one, no, I just set the guitar to jump from preset to preset to preset,
Yep.
and use the looper to hold the sounds from one to the other, so I can jump back and forth.
Yeah, I want to get more into looping.
Basically, if I'm not thinking about mixing two sounds live, usually it's one or the other and they're layered, so I just leave them in the looper. And I recently set up like all of these Glen ones with a looper added to each one, so you can
Mm-hmm.
go through, record a bit, jump to the next one, and because the Helix looper is still there, it's just like not a fancy looper, just a regular one.
Totally. Oh, so Nikki missed something. He wanted to know what the heck are those things on your guitar?
Those are called Flick 2s as opposed to the Flick 1. And they're used for, strangely enough, what are they used for? It's sort of like a little gizmo that you'd have to find your phone.
Okay.
So say you lose your phone, you can program anything into it. It talks to a phone with an app. Turn this off one sec.
Nice.
So this thing, you hit it, it has three different behaviors, like tap, double tap, and hold.
Yep. We can't quite see it. We need to
And
bring
those
it up a
three
little
things
bit.
can do anything. Let me try and get it into the light.
See that again.
There you go. So it looks like a quarter.
Yep. Looks like one of those Amazon like buy now
And any of
buttons.
the, yeah, like you could push this and have it take a picture for you on your phone, or triple tap it and it will call home if anything's wrong, or you can do anything with it. And what I use this with is through OnSong, but they should work also directly. You can control MIDI with it. So
Yep.
what I've done is map these to the emulation of the foot pedals on the big Helix. Like I've mapped 6 pedals, so whatever's on there almost
Mm-hmm.
will come up. So if I want to turn on the trem, I know the trem is on foot switch 5. I
Yep.
just hit this back one twice, and it turns on the trem or turns off the trem.
That's the stuff I like, and I feel like that's the direction it's a lot of things are going to be moving, which is you don't even like Helix has gotten away from most of the tap dancing, but it's really about automation and remote controllability from the guitar itself. Like, I mean, there are some times you want to improvise and do things live, but who
Yeah.
wants to run
But
back over?
2.9 is great for that, and you can set it up. You can program in there that it jumps through a course of things right on the Helix,
Yeah.
or
Well,
just
and
use an
and
iPad and
and the MC6
or
does
even
that too, right? You can have it step through certain functions, right? You can program that in.
that's a new thing they just came out with now. They have a list of 16 steps that you can program in, and every time you release your foot off the tap, there's usually a tap or a release.
Hmm.
When you go to a release, it goes to the next step in the chain. So it will count step one, two, three, four, five, six, and that can be
Yep.
anything.
Yeah, I mean,
You could
I've
say,
done that with keyboards.
open me this other preset in that snapshot and turn on the tremolo.
Yep.
And then the next time you hit it, it can jump to a totally different thing. So it will go anywhere with just one button.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've done that with keyboards. Like you could chain presets together. It was literally called chain, and then you can like they could be presets from whatever location that you could just. It's almost like putting them in a live set list order. Um, and or like with my Kurzweil K2600, or even the Teratech Axon guitar synth
Yeah.
could do that. And then the Roland FC300 foot controller was pretty programmable like that, and that's actually why I got it before I even had a VG99. Nikki was asking, how do you program those? I assume like a Bluetooth app or something.
Yeah, there's an app. Well, there's two ways. The way I'm doing this is with OnSong, which we got to
Hmm.
get you into, man, for
Oh,
sure.
I've been wanting to get into
Even if you
that for a
don't,
while.
like, it's crazy that app. But I only use it for MIDI. It's meant to be used for lyrics and projections and running lights and doing all the musical homework, anything you could think that a musician has to do. So
Hmm.
if you need to change the key of a song mid-tempo because the singer went and drank something he shouldn't have, he says drop it two tones, and you just say okay, drop it two tones. It reconfigures all the chords for you, all the chord diagrams,
Oh, that's great.
everything. And with the Variax, you could say, okay, we'll just capo it
Yep,
by two. It'll do all that for you. Like you don't have to touch a thing.
totally.
But for the MIDI side, which is much easier, it's
Hmm.
kind of cool because it's like a library. Like you put in all of your presets and you put your own names in,
Hmm.
and there's no real limiting space thing. So even your effects, you can do that. You can name anything you want, anything at all. So I can say on the app, totally detached from the Helix, all right, I want a jazz drummer and this beat and this sort of amp feel. Give me something that Coltrane would play on a Thursday night in New York. You could say something like that to it. And if you've linked all that into your database, like search fields, it will run out and say, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to take this JCM and plug it into this thing and set up these effects for it. And you're speaking English now to the gear, and the gear is responding.
Yeah. Oh, I've dreamed of that because I was like, I wanted to make an Alexa skill integration or something like that could, because I have an Amplify, although I'm trying to sell it now, or at least one of
Yeah,
them. And I always thought like that would be cool if you could just be like, because we listen to Alexa music all the time in the kitchen or whatnot, and it'd be like, oh, if I heard a song and my guitar is in the living room or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I just feel like jamming along with that right now. I love that song. I just
yeah,
be like, you know, Alexa, give me a tone to match that, or whatever. You could just say, Alexa,
that
do
would be great.
this, and then it does it. Like your amp, it's not like your guitar comes through Alexa, but you could have your amp somewhere else. Just like my pool equipment's remotely controlled by
Yeah,
Alexa, right? But I could just say like, Alexa, do this. It tells my amp modeler and all that what to do, and my guitar, tuning and all that jazz. And there I am
yeah,
jamming along with it. Or I don't even need to tell it; it just automatically knows. No matter what song's playing, I'm gonna set the amp, to match that or something. That would just be cool, and it could work with keyboards or something else. Like we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. So let me
the
oh,
the positive grid thing kind of does that ish, not to that degree, but
yeah.
It's pretty well much like a product for something that I've been designing for a year now, and that kind of does it, but nowhere near that cool.
Yeah, no, totally. So, just for everyone's edification here, the Power Cab 212 Plus is currently in flat mode, right? Because which is great because we're using an acoustic, right? You know, we don't need any. We want the full spectrum of it. But then what happens if I want to run an electric model, right? With on the Helix, and you can see my screen still, right, Alec? I think so.
Yep.
Let me turn this gate off. I was just kept it on to keep the string noise down, but so let's save this so we don't lose anything. But now I want an electric guitar signal chain. So we'll just bypass. Actually, we'll just do that. Right. Actually, we can leave the reverb on, right? So let's say we'll just do an amp here, and we want. I'm gonna turn the guitar down. I like this archetype lead. Now, I want a speaker from the Power Cab to follow that. So I can just change this to speaker mode. And if you look at the Power Cab, that changed. It didn't change what preset, right? If you see, it still says edited, right? Because now we don't even need to worry about presets. We're just telling the Power Cab what to do. But you see the light is red because that's a vintage 30 model. So if I go back to the Helix, and on this output block, I can say I want a greenback, right? If I just turn that knob, and apologize for having to switch back and forth. Actually, I guess I could do picture in picture, but then you're going to get it upside down. But you know what? I'll do it anyway. So you've got right there, you see green. I change it. Jarvis, which is that aqua color. Cream is kind of goldish. Bayou is like a purpley color. Essex is a deeper blue. Natural is off. So I'm going to keep it on vintage 30, right? And yeah, that's just what I want to, have it do. So, but before I do that, if I push and turn, like we all know how to do, vintage 30, and push and turn the mode as well, now those are under snapshot control. So I can say, for instance, in this snapshot 1, I have the amp, reverb, and a vintage 30. And then in snapshot 2, I have this stuff on and my amp off, right? But then I also need in snapshot 2 to go to flat mode. Right? So now I hit snapshot 1, vintage 30 with the amp, snapshot 2, flat mode, and then the last part, the most important part, at least for me and Alec here, is to go to our input block and make sure this is on per preset, I just reset my unit, but put the Variax model on snapshot control as well. So let's say it's acoustic 5, right here, and then when I go here, I want turn that down. Let's go to a Les Paul bridge, maybe, right? That might be really loud for everybody. Let me bring that down a bit. Right? Pretty freaking cool. This is let me do the split screen the other way. There you go. So you can see the things changing, but You know, to be able to go from a Les Paul with a lead amp and a vintage 30 speaker to flat mode, it's pretty crazy. Hey, one of my music teachers from high school is watching on Facebook. What's up, Mr. Karen? I'll still call him Mr. Karen like 15, well, no, more than 15 years later. Many years later, like 20 years later. Nice to see you, sir. He is an excellent musician and inspired me to want to do Mario Brothers, some kind of cover at one point, because he did it on bassoon, which was his principal instrument, and it sounded freaking amazing. So thanks for joining, Jason. Appreciate it. And if I miss your comment, it's because I'm switching back to YouTube to see what Nikki is telling us. You can't hear or see what I'm doing when bent over on the Helix. Can you hear me now, Nikki? It might be because I was like really far away.
I can hear you.
Turn this back up. You can hear me now. Okay. Oh, it's probably just because I was like out of range of the microphone. So what I was doing was just showing you how when I changed the speaker model on the input block or output block, sorry, you saw the light change on the power cab, which meant the model was changing. Yeah, no worries. That was exactly why. So let's see. Now the screen on the HX is small. Well, yeah, I'm like, this camera, for some reason, it's not focusing well, and then if I zoom in, I don't know, it'd be weird. I wanted to show the entire Helix so you could see everything that I was hitting. But, Alec, the most important part, you know, is let's configure the Variax stuff, right? We already got the model, but let's add some tuning, right? Because what's the point if we're not going to change tuning, right? So let's see. What tuning should we use for the electric, Alec? What do you think?
Drop D. What else are you gonna do?
Right? So of course, you know, we all know we could program it with the model preset, but I don't even do that anymore. I just do everything from the Helix because other than pickup changes or, you know, things like that. So put this on custom. Oops. Go back over here. So for everybody that caught that, even though I'm not changing the other strings, I'm going to put them under snapshot control anyway because we're going to change them on the next one. Right? There's drop D. What about the acoustic? I think we should do an open tuning. What do you think? I think we should do an open.
Yeah.
Let's do let's do I'll go extreme. So I did an open A in like an odd way. So I have C really low here. And I should probably bring up the gain of that compressor. And then I have C, A, E, A, C, E. So if let me bring back myself here. So if you notice, try to get this in view. Or sorry, A minor, not open A, but I meant A minor. We could go to A major if you want. You could even have a snapshot that's exactly the same. That's just A major. So you got the C sharp. And if I should probably mute my microphone because you'll hear the overtones. That electric's really loud. Let me turn that down a bit. Let's do. Too much fun over here. How do you use? What kind of crazy things are you doing, Alec? Let's bring you back on screen here. What kind of crazy stuff are you doing with snapshots and tunings and?
What am I doing with them? I'm basically setting them up to call a lot of external pedals. So when I switch snapshots, I'm mostly doing like extra variac stuff. I use the Sim 1 to drive my main sound off the guitar. So magnetics drive a Sim 1, which becomes a one guitar. And then on top of that, I layer in some of the strings of the variacs. So if I'm playing a Martin on the Sim 1 and I want some extra bass, then I'll put in two J200 to get that boominess cutting in. And that's tied to an expression pedal. So I can slide part of one guitar over the top of the other one.
Oh, that's super cool. I need to bust out my Sim 1 and bring it into the rig because all the stuff you're doing with it is intriguing me.
You can do the same with anything else. Like use these Glam presets, which I think are cool because it gives non-variax people an insight into having 8 guitars at your fingertips.
Yeah. If Eddie Van Halen was Japanese chocolate, this is what he'd be.
Nice.
Yeah. These are good. Do I know the Rain song? Nikki asked. I used to know. I did get that kind of reminder when I played that chord. But I'd have my Led Zeppelin complete book over there. I'm a huge Zeppelin fan. They're like my favorite band, so I'm definitely gonna do some more of that. In fact, I guess I'll just give away my plan right now. This is what I plan to do. Let me know what you think out. I'm gonna do Stairway to Heaven or something. Completely with the normal instruments. I've got the double neck Jimmy Page thing. Acoustic guitar. It's like do it all with traditional instruments. And then I'm gonna do it again, but with just one guitar, Variax. And just to like, I know it's like a lot of people get it and cover
Hotel California, man.
That'd be another one too, another one to do because you got the 12 string and everything. Yeah. The thing is, I don't have a 12 string acoustic like in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you
Can't
could
really
do it
fake those. I've tried in every way to fake a 12 string, and like also to fake a nylon,
Mm-hmm.
can't be done. The Barracks is about the closest you'll get, and even then, it's not. Those are weird guitars. You've got to like knock everything's got to be kind of out of tune.
Yeah.
Knock a few cents off here and there, and really twist it up. Is it's a fabulous instrument. This is one of the ones you kind of just have to have one.
Yeah. Well, that's what's one of the things I think a lot of people miss out on with Variax is when they do the 12 string. I mean, I know the defaults, they sound all right, but like they'll go in and make a 12 string and then they just keep everything at
Yeah,
zero, like an exact octave. And I'm like, no, no, you need to go in there and tweak the sense. And then they're like, oh,
yeah. Like a real 12 string is always there's always something wrong with it, and that's why it sounds cool.
yep. And the other thing, which I don't think I could replicate with a Variax, I could only do with the Epiphone double neck that I have, or a Gibson if I had that one, is the kind of drone sympathetic resonance of the other strings when you're
Mm.
playing one of the other necks. So what I like to do
Oh
is
yeah,
like when I got that, that's when I figured out like, oh, here's one of the secrets of like Jimmy Page's sound on some of these is he leaves both necks on and he'll just play one like the 6 string neck while the 12 strings is ringing out. And that's like or what you could do is you could put it on the neck you're not playing and then you play the other neck and then all you hear is the resonance, which is like,
that'd be
you know,
something.
crazy. But but yeah,
You
so
can't do that with a Variax? I'm sure you could do that with a Variax.
I mean, I think like the building blocks are there deep within that we can't access because there are, the sitar is a resonator, so there's some resonance going on there, but there's no like. I think the only way to fake it would be to like have like a reverb mix 100% or something, and then you're just playing it, on the guitar, and you just hear it like kind of faded in the background. That'd
Yeah.
probably be the best way I could think
Well,
of to do that. Yeah,
keep your
Pat
reverbs at
Metheny.
less than 100%.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to remember now. Can you turn the primary strings down 100% and then keep the? Well, no, then they'd still be ringing at the exact time because that's the thing. The resonant ones are kind of delayed because it's like taking time to swell up. You know.
Yeah,
Um,
but if you took the piezo signal
mm-hmm.
and the magnetic signal as two different things, and then it should, in theory, the magnetics are always going to be faster. If you have them feeding back a monitor, really exciting the guitar,
Mm-hmm.
it would sound fairly different, and that would pick up and reflect and reverb. If you could stop it from squealing,
Yeah.
I would think you could do it.
Maybe.
Would be cool.
Maybe.
I would think so. I would hope so.
I found my Ebo the other day, by the way, when I was cleaning up the studio here. So I'll have to incorporate that somehow as well. Nikki said that Pat Metheny has a guitar with strings for that kind of resonance. Yes, I'm a huge Pat Metheny fan, though I can't really play any of his music. Um, yeah, but yeah, regarding this setup, I mean that was just a quick and dirty example, but like how cool is it with one foot switch that you can change literally your entire rig from strings to speaker. Like it's
Yeah.
still blows my mind, and I mean I didn't help develop Variax. That was already there when I joined, as was Helix, but I did partake in PowerCab to know I had even just a tiny bit of input or influence into making that happen is like, you know like even being involved with it still blows my mind. It's like being an electrical engineer and like thinking about IC chips and like how all the little
Yeah.
traces actually make.
How old is the Varex now? I mean, it's ancient, this thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the original
It's got to be one of
Variax.
the best design things I've ever seen. that it stands that kind of time. Oh,
Especially
wow.
in music gear tech world. I mean, consumer tech world, it's like way beyond, right? Because things get refreshed every 2 to 3 years, 5 at most. Um, but as far as music tech, right, it's like it's insane. And that's my whole argument too to people that are like, wanting the next thing, and we all want this to evolve. And we're talking right now of all kinds of cool possibilities we could do, and synths and remote controls and everything. But it's like there's so much untapped potential. Like even as deep as you and I are into this, I'm sure we're still scratching the surface. Like Stevik is the
Yeah, man,
guy
we
that
haven't
takes it.
done a thing with the thing yet.
Yeah, like Stevik's taking it to the max. Leo from Frog Leap is pretty much maxing the things out. But for the most part, 99% of the users are like, they're like, oh, I use a Variax to play an acoustic sound once in a while, or maybe do one alt tuning once in a while. But it's like,
Oh, come on.
I
The
I
default should be the 89 pickups in the neutral body.
yeah,
There's no beating that guitar.
oh yeah, and
You've got the real one there, but all of my guitars, or the final custom
mm-hmm,
though, is always the 89F with a neutral body.
yep,
On the 59, on the 69, it's my go-to. If I want an electric sound, nothing beats it.
yeah, I love them. And
Yeah, except a Revstar, obviously.
I have a Revstar pickup on my bench I found the other day when I was cleaning through some stuff. Um, yeah, I thought of you when I found it. I was like, oh, Alec would love this. Hold on, I'll grab it. There it is. So yeah, this was Yamaha guitar development, manufactured by G&B. You can see the little YGD logo on there. I don't know. It's that.
Oh, cool.
It's out of focus, but it's that little white block down there. But yeah, it's a pretty cool sounding pickup. Um, let's see. What do we got in the comments section here? Let's see. Yeah, preaching to the choir, Nikki says. Yeah, that's, um, I had a thought going back to that, but yeah, I challenge everybody who has a Variax. Did we lose you, Alec? Or are you still there? Your video's frozen. Check Alec 1 2 3. Alec, I think we lost you, man. Oh, call failed. I'm gonna call him back, and then I'll tell you what the challenge is. Let's call Mr. Bourne, the Bourne identity, the Bourne Variax. How's everybody doing out there? Looks like he's gone. Maybe his battery died. That's possible. Let's I'll just switch back to my view for a second. And what's up? So I challenge anybody who can. I'm just gonna let him know we lost you. I'm sure he knows that. But I'm gonna challenge anybody that owns a Variax or is interested in getting one. Just try making it your primary instrument for a while. And not just, the cover tune things are cool. And I love that as much as the next person. But use it to create something new. Push this stuff to its limits. Turn strings off. Do some wacky tunings. Um, you know, change the mix of the strings. Put stack pickups on top of each other. Change sounds within a song. Just do something crazy that, you've got all the ability to do it. Why not? Right? Don't just and that goes not just with Variax. It goes with Helix, Power Cab, other modelers. You know, if you have an Axe Effects, you know, a Kemper not so much because you're literally just profiling existing amps and their tones. But yeah, I'm sure you could mix and match things there too. But like all this stuff, just you know, I love it when I saw this guy the other day playing like a fretless guitar, and then I go to his page and he's got this other wacky guitar-ish looking thing with like strings coming on over here and other strings coming down here, and I don't even know what the heck was going on, but I was just like, whatever it is cool, and it sounds cool and it's different because you know what else is yeah, all the above. What else is the point? Alex is not coming through very well for a while. Yeah, I don't know what happened with him. I think he lost signal or something. It says he's active, but maybe he'll come back. But speaking of crazy tunings, let me show you one that I was taught by the illustrious Carlos Alomar. Really awesome guitarist, producer, teacher. He used to play with David Bowie. So if you remember the dude with the big round glasses back in the day, that was him. But he showed me this cool tuning. So let me switch cameras here, and we'll go to split screen. Alright, so we're on the acoustic sound, but I want to go to bear with me for a moment. So he called this the oh, battery died. It's late. No worries, brother. And Nikki Alex sends his regards. So Nikki, if you want to give me a ring, we'll get you on here. But while we're doing that, this was again the tuning that. Thanks, Alec, for the 200. Appreciate that. Oh, sorry for your ears. Let me grab a pick. I have this whole bin set up over there to organize my picks. But yeah, this was a tuning that was taught to me by Carlos Alomar, and there's Nikki coming in. Let's bring him in. Hey, what's happening? How you doing, man?
Hang on, I gotta switch to earphones. It looks like. Hang on.
Okay. Hey, what's happening?
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So what's this tuning?
So this tuning, it's called the Bayou B tuning. And let me, I'm gonna share my screen here real quick. There you go.
Getting it.
There you go.
All right. I was getting a nasty echo, so I just turned off.
Oh yeah, you'll have to mute that, otherwise you're gonna get some crazy loop back. All right. So this tuning, it goes on the from low to high. You've got let me turn the volume up. B, F sharp, B, F sharp, B, B. So these two are the same B.
So that's kind of like what they did in Sweet Judy Blue Eyes, where he has all those E's and B's.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
I don't know it well, but I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, you know the song. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
So what is it again? It's E B.
No, it's just two notes. So it's the root and the fifth. So it's B and F sharp, and it just alternates.
Oh.
So B, F sharp, B, F sharp, B, B.
So the F sharp is the sixth string, or the
fifth, the fifth string. So the sixth,
okay.
yeah, from low to high. So from low.
Okay, so you're going down like a fourth to get to the B.
Yeah, it's let's see,
that's pretty far.
Five semitones, just like you'd go to baritone, you know.
Yeah. I'm just trying to set it up.
Yeah. So it's kind of, I guess it's kind of fitting given the situation we're going in. But the story that he told me, that was told to him about how it came about, was this tuning came from the bayou of like Louisiana way back in the day when, unfortunately, when this country had slaves going on, and the reason why they had to tune it to that was because it was super humid, and the wood they were using for the guitars, or that they were putting together, they had solid steel strings. So those strings, if you tuned it like to what's considered like a standard or normal tuning, you'd like snap the neck or warp it significantly, especially with all, they weren't like wound like these. And apparently
they probably didn't have a truss rod.
No, they didn't have truss rods or anything, plus a lot of these were like probably homemade, from scraps laying around the shop there. But there's so much great stories, and I mean, everything we listen to today, rock and roll, modern blues, it all stems from this original Americana, bayou blues music, right? That was singing about their troubles and everything else that was going on. But what happened was,
and they had plenty of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I can't even imagine. I've actually stopped at a cotton field on the side of the road before and like tried to inspect the plant, and it's like, oh my God, I can't imagine picking that by hand all day. And what happened was the fingertips, we bitch about calluses, but forget about it. Like, you can't push down on a solid steel string, never mind a nice one from today, after you've been doing that all day. So, but they could lay their finger across all the strings. So now you have a nice open tuning. So I call this the Bayou B tuning. I don't know if that's what Carlos called it. I can't remember. This was years ago. But that's what he told me the origin was, and it makes sense, with like, again, given the times and the materials and everything else that was going on. So, the one thing I forgot to switch was to the resonator bank. So, I think it's Reso 2. Oh no, that's the sitar. Sorry. Reso 5, that's the one.
Okay.
So anytime I hear this, I'm going to turn the gate on my microphone again so you don't hear the string noise. But every time I hear this, it just, like, that's the power, I think, to me about Variax and pairing it with Helix is like, it puts me, I feel like I'm sitting on a log in a swamp,
Without the heat.
Yes, thankfully without the heat and without, without like having to go work in a field or something. But the other cool thing about this tuning is that if you just go like, 3/5, 3/5, you have a whole pentatonic scale right there. So, you know,
That's cool.
it's
I'm having a hard time because I'm hearing my acoustic strings too.
oh
So.
yeah. That's the one that always gets everybody. Yep.
I have to use open ear headphones because I have hearing aids.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So otherwise, I get too much feedback.
Yeah, no. And then I know that like my coworker has hearing aids too, and his actually have Bluetooth, but I know the latency is probably not adequate to be able to monitor, music in real time. Because we'll be out traveling together, and he'll get a phone call, and he's like talking, and it's just like someone with an earbud in or something, but you really can't realize it because it's a hearing aid. It's so tiny. He's just talking to his wife, and I thought he was talking to me, and he's like, no, I got blue. I'm like, you got Bluetooth hearing aids? He's like, yeah. I'm like, man, things have come a long way.
Yeah, the lady who sold me these had them.
Okay.
And I don't know, I haven't used any of the real new Bluetooth, but I think the newer Bluetooth protocols are faster.
Yeah, BLE is really fast. I think the range is limited, but usually if it's like your phone or something, you're within arm's reach usually. But yeah. I know like Bluetooth LE is what like the Katana amps use for their editor, and I think the THR as well. And that's why like if you see the knob or the setting on the phone and you move your finger, it's like you can see it move instantly on the amp itself, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I like the resonator sound, and this is just the stock Reso 5 position with this Bayou B tuning, and I just throw a little reverb. Actually, let me turn that graphic EQ off because I think I scooped a little too much out of it. Anyway, the other thing I like to throw on too sometimes is a little bit of delay. I don't know. Are you a big delay user, Nikki?
Yeah, I actually prefer delay over reverb. I usually use a very small amount of reverb if I use it, or either that, or I really use a lot to get like a real cavern effect. But yeah, I've always been a delay guy.
Okay. Let's
But I'll tell you, the reverbs in the Helix, are great. I mean, the different selections like Ganymede and stuff. I was real skeptical about because all I had was spring reverb and amplifiers from back in the day.
Yep.
But then when I started messing with all the different reverbs in the Helix, I was like, whoa, you can do some pretty cool stuff with these.
Yeah. No, it gets pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like even this is just a simple delay, right?
Yeah.
So, let's see. I go to. Sorry, the gate's on, so you can't even hear me there.
Actually, I could hear you fairly well down there. I was surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let's see. So if I'm gonna throw the looper block in here too, and let's see. Now, assign this to this foot switch. So I like to mess with the looper here and just.
I haven't really gotten so I'm very good with the looper. You got to be pretty exact with it. I haven't really taken the time to learn how to, get myself practiced on it.
Yeah. No,
I get frustrated.
It's definitely it takes some practice for sure.
Yeah, you got to be right on, or it sounds like shit. Pardon me.
Yeah. Let's see. So if I go to like, this is how I like to start. Getting used to the looper is just pedal on one tone. And I like it with the delay because it gives it a little more fullness.
Yeah.
That should be good. Pretty good right there. And then if
I was having trouble with that tuning, and then I realized that I have my guitar tuned half step down, so everything that it tells me on the Helix is
Oh, you had it physically a half step down. There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, the people that I'm playing with play everything a half step down, so I started tuning my guitar down.
That makes sense.
Yeah, which is good because it makes it easier for me to sing. Because I'm always like I'm a bass, so I'm always at the top range of my voice.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you. I mean, I can do some falsetto, but like when I was in the barbershop quartet as a kid, I was you know, I was doing all the bass parts, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just like would leave this like that B pedaling, and then just you could just solo over it. And then I should probably. Yeah, you can adjust the playback, you know, and stuff like that too. I was probably playing a little too soft, but
it's okay. I can hear what's going on.
But this is how I just like come up with ideas and stuff, and then I'll take my little music memos app on my phone, and I'll just like record in the room. You know, like I used to do with the tape deck with the cassette recorder. You know, put it in the middle of the
You must
room.
have an iPhone?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so many apps for iPhone that I can't use because I've got Android.
Yeah.
Even there's a lot of MIDI stuff out there too that I started seeing in the past few days, but nothing I could see on Android, at least that I know of.
Yeah, I know some folks that are like pretty diehard PC guys that are musicians that'll still use iOS just because of like there's way more music related apps for iOS.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't spend that kind of money.
Yeah,
you probably have a real job.
I do. I have a full-time job, and it is real. No, it's my other passion. It's in 3D modeling. So
cool.
I work for a company that that makes and sells 3D modeling software. So the same software used to design Helix, Power Cab, these guitars, probably your Android phone, my iPhone, this computer, you know, pretty much every product in the world is designed in it.
That is so cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just like a cool little tuning I like to share with people.
Yeah.
Whoops. Getting back to the... Oh, now I've got delay on everything. Let's see. So that's one tip that I don't know if you knew this or like anybody else that's watching. What I like to do if I'm going to use snapshots is I will build an entire preset, like put all the blocks in there that I think I'm going to use, and then set it up for the core sound, like, you know, probably leave the reverb on, the amp, if there's an amp and whatever. And then I'll start going into the snapshots, because the thing is, like, once you start adding blocks, like, then it's like default on for all of them. Then you got to go back through every snapshot if you didn't want that, and then turn it off. And
yeah, you know what I do? I try to remember to turn it off when I put it in before I save.
There you go.
And then I can move through it, you know, with relative ease. I keep my Helix on so that it saves automatically in globals.
Oh, okay, cool.
So as I'm putting things together, I don't have to. If I jump from snapshot, I don't lose it.
Cool. That's a smart idea. I like that. So let's talk about your synth adventures, because I know that's what you were wanting some advice today, and I was trying to help you on the chat, but it's always better to talk in real time. So
definitely. Here it is.
All right. Oh, so you have the original one like I have.
I don't know. It's one I just bought it, so I don't know. Is there something newer out?
There's like this one. I think it has a smaller bass unit. It looks Like it looks like two of those buttons that Alec was just showing us. Like that's or like
That I think is the wired one.
oh, that's the wired one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been a little out of the Fishman game for a while.
yeah, yeah. That's the wired one.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
bust mine out here.
hmm
Let's see.
They had an open box at Musician's Friend, so I went for it.
So everybody can
Yeah,
know what we're talking about. This is the
yeah.
Fishman wireless MIDI controller. To be honest, I haven't played too much with this because my main like guitar synth thing is my Brian Moore that has the GK output built in,
Uh-huh.
and it has like these RMC piezo bridge, kind of like the Variax, and so that takes the piezos and routes it out to the 13 pin output, and then I go into my guitar synths from there. But I need to get playing with this. As you can see, I put it back in the box. I need to get playing with this again because you and others have intrigued me. But I
It's
do
just
have the
such great
fucking.
sounds. I love them. I mean, I could see myself using them all the time if I could get if I could get it into another box besides this huge
Like
computer
I got
set
this
I
like
got.
right when I stopped using it. I haven't even opened the controller yet.
Yeah.
It's still sealed. Um, yeah, I have an excess of. I have a problem, as some people
Yeah,
know.
yeah, you have a few toys there, don't you?
Yeah, but yeah, the what I was thinking about was maybe like a Microsoft Surface for you, um,
Yeah,
that you could load because that's running Windows 10 if I recall, right? A Microsoft
yeah,
Surface.
that's exactly what crossed my mind.
So then you could run like, because what are you using now? You said that you like the computer synths or samplers that you have. What are they?
Well, I'm just running it through my PC. I've got a Ryzen 3 that I built myself,
Okay.
and it's got 24 gigabytes of RAM and several hard drives and whatnot. But it runs the software fine, and I'm getting good sound through it. So,
Nice.
I mean, considering it's computer sound, but I do have it running. See, like all the stuff that we're doing now, I have running through a mixer on my desk
Okay.
that runs into my headphones because that's how I practice. I
Yep.
have my riff station on the computer that gets fed into the mixer, and my Helix gets fed into the mixer, and the microphone here
Mhm.
gets fed into it too. So I just put all that stuff and I plug the headphones into it.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I mean, well, the Ryzen, that's like a NUC, right? That's like a tiny, like mini ATX
no,
or
no,
something.
Ryzen is the competitor to Intel.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
Oh,
it would be
Yeah,
like
the Ryzen chip. That's right.
right.
I was thinking of like Razer or something for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, it's a full-blown tower computer.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So what about like a NUC or something like that? Like one of those micro ATX like size, like looks like a cable box or something. You know
I
that
don't
you,
even know what a NUC is.
it's but they're usually made by Intel, but they're it's like a mini computer. Let me see
Huh.
if I can. I'm gonna share my screen here.
Yeah,
Intel NUC. Um, yeah, they're like these little compact fanless
yeah,
computers, right? Like this one's 139 bucks. I don't know
yeah.
if it would be sufficient. Oh, what happened here?
Newegg. I was just looking at them earlier today to see what I could dig up. I didn't know what to look for. There's not a category for tablets there.
Yeah,
But when I looked at laptops, it had the kind of laptops that you can take apart and use like a tablet with touch screens.
yeah. I'm trying to
But
like click the wrong
but
screen here.
they didn't look that great, the ones that in the price range I was looking. So I had to like move my
Yeah,
move
because these are
price
pretty
range up.
small, and they have,
Yeah,
they've got Ethernet, wireless LAN, Bluetooth, all this. I don't know how much power you would need to run it, but I'm thinking if you like could strip down Windows small enough, or maybe like run Linux that had, if there's any soft synths on Linux that you could run,
yeah,
and kind of do like a mini Muse receptor, like
yeah.
pretty
I
home.
looked at that today after you told me about it, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah,
It looks like it, although it does look like it's way beyond what my needs are, because you can do some pretty wild stuff with it.
Yeah, yeah, and plus they're discontinued, so it might be like
Yeah.
good luck. I think the company went under, so it might be like good luck getting support. But I mean, you could just run, a stereo output because they all have built-in audio, and then
Yeah.
and what you really need for the Fishman, right, is a host for the receiver. So you need something that can.
Well, I've got the foot controller, so that gives me the receiver.
Oh, I
And
thought you returned that.
no, I was thinking about
Oh, it
returning it
was
because
it
this
was
whole
the
thing was
MIDI
getting.
sound module you returned. That's right.
Oh, that thing I returned. Yes, right. That sounded like crap. I can't
Gotcha.
believe. I don't understand how that guy on that video was able to get decent sound out of it, unless he was just using sounds that sounded good. But some of them, I tried the harpsichord. It sounded like an organ.
Oh,
It was
gee.
terrible.
Oh man, that's funny.
But the
Um,
thing only costs like $80, so what can you expect from it? I just
yeah,
wanted to get my feet wet here.
it made me think of like maybe there's a market for smaller, MIDI sound modules or things that could load sounds. That's why
Well, I would think so. How many guys like you and me would, like a pedal size thing, to
hmm
just put on their pedal board and have that option instead of carrying around a laptop or something like that. I mean, we already have what I got: alto cabinets. I got the Helix. I got the Variax. I got my mic stand. I got my mic.
hmm
All this paraphernalia. It's just
Yeah, it's a lot of
a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, definitely the smaller. I mean, everything's going. You know, even professionals, right? It's I've worked with tons of touring musicians, and it's logistics is insane. So it's all about
Right.
how can we take as least amount of gear as possible, and not to
Right.
mention like God forbid something gets lost or broken or what you need to be able to do with what you ever you have on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
I can take. I have a Reunion Blues double gig bag, so I can put two guitars in there. And I've taken that on planes all the time, and I know several guys that will check their Reunion Blues bags. They're at least the
Mhm.
single ones, and they come out fine. But
Yeah.
the yeah, I could take two guitars, and then I've got the Helix backpack that I could put that and all the cables and everything
The
else.
backpack is a godsend.
Yeah, and you can even put a little
Oh, that
stomp in the
makes
little
it.
top pocket as a backup if you need it.
Yeah, it's great. I have another modeler, a little small one
hmm
that I go and play with my brother. My brother plays flute,
Okay.
so this is my old modeler, and I just throw it in the backpack, and he plays. He doesn't get his amplifier out or anything. I just plug him in to the alto
Yeah.
through that, and he's got his delay and reverb there, and it
There you
sounds
go.
better than the little amplifier stuff that he's got from back in the day. Because he and
Yeah.
I used to play in a band together when I was like just before I even went to college.
hmm
So his equipment is that old.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
I
Let
got him to buy a microphone. He bought an SM58 a couple weeks ago.
Oh my
His
gosh.
his old microphone finally died.
Wow. Let me. I'm just gonna show. Let's see. Hold on. There it is. So this was the other thing I was telling you about. I just went full screen here so everybody can see. Um, so there's a Raspberry Pi. That's literally
Mm.
how small this thing is.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Oh no, that's the power supply, but they're both really small. There's the actual board. I'm gonna do probably not a live stream, but an offline video on this thing later. So there's
That
that,
would be interesting.
and then this is the this is an addition to the Elk board, that development kit. This is like the controller kit, so you can
Hmm.
actually patch things in and out, and has a few faders and a knob and stuff.
That's what you were telling me about the other day.
Yeah,
I went and looked at it.
so
That's some heavy stuff there. Where did you get your electronics know-how?
I'm an electrical engineer. That's my
Oh, well, that would do it.
that's my bad. But before I was an engineer, I was an electronics technician for air traffic control equipment in the Marines.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, I used to work on radios and radars and beacons and things like that for expeditionary air traffic control systems.
I would have loved to do something like that. I took electronics when I was in high school. The teacher was terrible, so it kind of turned me off. But as soon as I started getting into like guitar pedals and amplifiers, I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I got to learn electronics. But I never had that great of an opportunity. I never picked up on it like I maybe should have. It would have been very cool.
Yeah, no, it's just like music stuff. It's it's addicting and
Yeah, it's like anything. You just when you it's like now this MIDI thing. It's like okay, you dive in, and all of a sudden you're like you're under the ocean. There's just so much stuff to know.
yeah, I've actually had brewing in the back of my mind for a while, like a basic course on MIDI,
Hmm.
especially for like guitar players that tend. More and more, I'm seeing people embrace it, and I'm glad to see Alex group grow so much because usually it'd be like, no MIDI, I don't want anything to do with, like
Yeah,
it's like blasphemous to say those four letters around. It was the bad four-letter word to say around guitar players. Not that there's many, right? But it's like MIDI is like don't ever say that. Except
well,
for
I picked
like,
up.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't know if you recommended it to me or not, but somebody turned me on to this Helix unofficial MIDI guide,
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw somebody share that with you today.
which is turned out I haven't gotten too far in it, but right away as soon as I read the first few pages, it was like, oh okay, now I actually have some terms that I
Yeah,
can
that's the thing
you
is
know
with most of this stuff, whether it's Helix or Variax or MIDI or something, it's always like if you got the terminology down, like and you kind of that way when you read something or people are talking about it, you kind of get an idea of what it's about. But if you don't know the
yeah.
terms, you're lost. Like CC, PC, like it's just a bunch of alphabet soup.
Right. It's just like the other day I had to ask you what that little thing that I had. I didn't know what a sound module was. I never heard of that.
Yeah. Well, see, my
So,
background is in keys, so I started on piano, and
oh,
I taught myself guitar in like middle school.
hmm,
Um, with like VHS tapes and of songbook and stuff.
yeah.
But actually didn't even have a guitar lesson until I had already been playing like 5 years. But
Yeah, I hadn't had a guitar lesson until I was like 6 or 7 years playing.
oh yeah, there you go. But yeah, I'm almost as much of, if not more of, probably equal, I guess, of a keyboard and synth nut as I am a guitar nut. You just don't see them because guitars look prettier hanging on the walls.
Yes.
But I've got I don't know if you saw that Steve Vai birthday video we did. I played keys in that.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, we did a video for his 60th birthday a couple weeks ago. So I figured there was like 20 other guitar players, so I'd just stick to keys. Plus
Not a
the
bad
guitar
idea.
parts for that are really hard. Like I started practicing it and like within an hour my fingers were about to fall off from all the
Yeah.
bends. But
Yeah.
yeah, like so that's why I'm pretty familiar with that world, and that's what intrigued me about guitar synth stuff because I was like, well, if I can get all the benefits of the guitar world plus you know well, the hardest thing, at least right now, is articulation, right? Because the guitar is so expressive, way more
Mm,
than like keys, like whether it's a piano, acoustic piano, or a keyboard, right? You're literally just pressing a button, so to speak, a key, and
great.
making something happen. You've got velocity, and but it's like per key. It's like it's already determined what note you're at. So
Well,
it's
it's technically a percussion instrument,
yep, exactly.
so
Except a
it has its
harpsichord is more
advantages.
like a guitar than a piano because you're plucking the string.
Yes, right.
But but yeah, the um, with that, it's like so hard to translate like all the little nuances of playing guitar to sounds that aren't a guitar. Like I think it's easier to make a keyboard sound like a guitar than it is to make a guitar sound like a piano.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was really impressed with what the Fishman software does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just started playing like an E7,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like sounds like a piano. I
Yep.
mean, as long as you are aware of your voicings,
Yeah. Well,
you
that's
can really
that's
make it sound like it. And also, if you bend a string or you slide up and down, it reinterprets it into piano keys individually.
mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So
how the Axon unit that I was using would do it. So you could have it if I mean the sounds that were pre-programmed already did this, but you could change it if you want. You could say, basically, yeah, when I bend, does it retain like the pitch and only switch after a certain point, as if you're toggling between keys, or does it actually bend?
right,
Which is cool that you're able to filter that out. Um, but yeah, I think I want to get back into you. You've piqued my interest, you and many others, to get back
mm,
into guitar synth stuff because it seems like when I was I think I got into guitar synths in 2004. I was like on a 2 week break from Iraq or something, and I was home. I went to the local music shop that went to as a kid, and they had that Brian Moore that I ended up getting. That was like a dealer demo unit the owner had bought, and he sold it to me basically for what he paid for it. And
nice,
and I got the Roland GR33 sound module, so it's a pedal based thing,
yeah,
and that was really cool, and I was hooked ever since. But I feel like all that stuff, and same with like when Variax came out, which was years later, or I mean, actually it was around that time, but years after the Roland guitar synth stuff, because that's been going since like the 80s and 90s. Um, and then you got Variax in the early 2000s. All of it, I think, was just way ahead of its time. That you see it now, like really building up interest, right? I mean,
yeah,
like look at you. You got a Variax and guitar synth, MIDI triggers, and Alex community's growing, and now with cool things like
yeah.
Stomp and the Morningstar stuff. There's like all these things that people are trying to piece together and do more advanced stuff with.
Yeah, I think there's like a subgroup of us that are really into this, but then I run into a lot of people who are like, my tube amp,
Oh yeah,
and
they're
they've got like a stack with 812s.
yeah. No, we're not mainstream yet, but I think
No,
once they start getting all the chiropractor bills, they'll they're real. Like to me, it's the whole modeling thing is like it's just gotten to a point where it all sounds great. Helix, Axe Effects, Headrush, Kemper,
yeah,
whatever, they all sound great, and they have for years. So it's like I don't even like all those comparison videos. I'm like, who even cares, right? It sounds good. That's all that matters.
that's how I feel about it.
No two tube amps, the same model, one serial number apart, aren't going to sound different. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Well, that's why I see all these posts in the Variax group about people saying, well, the Stratocaster does not sound like my 98
well, unless you have that
this
serial number
model.
that was modeled, it's not going to sound like any.
That's what I tell them. They just, I don't know if they don't read the manual or what. But
Yeah. Yeah. No.
anyway,
No. And that's like the whole thing too about why I encourage people to check out PowerCab too is mainly because when people are doing the comparisons, they're they're not comparing apples to apples. They're saying my amp, be it whatever, tube amp, solid state, doesn't matter. Your traditional guitar amp is, you know, this guitar amplifier into a guitar speaker into a guitar, that's in a guitar cabinet, and you're standing in front of it, right? So it's not like you're hearing that mic'd up through studio monitors or a PA speaker, but all pretty much all amp modeling, right? Like the pod, its whole reason to be was to make recording guitar easier, right? So it was the whole
yeah,
signal chain. It was the amp, the cabinet, the microphone, everything to get into
yeah,
whether it was an ADAT or Pro Tools or whatever. That was the goal. So I don't have to mic
yeah,
up my cabinet or bring the cabinet or whatever. I could just record with this little pod.
Well, the power cab is a good idea because your Helix models are mic'd cabs, and if you're going into a power cab, I guess you wouldn't use a cab in your chain. You would use the power cab, and that would give you that amp in the room that everybody talks about.
That's exactly it. If you noticed when I was building that electric sound earlier, I just selected the amp model. I didn't do amp plus cab or a separate cab block.
Yeah, I
For the,
couldn't tell what you were doing down there.
oh, sorry. Yeah, it was like it's too zoomed out to see the screen. I guess I could have zoomed in on
Yeah,
the screen, but then you wouldn't see the foot switches. But
yeah. Well, you got logistics issues there, so
yeah,
that's understandable.
and I think I'm gonna I wanted to put a GoPro on there. That's a camcorder. I think the
Yeah,
GoPro is a little clearer, but that was I was using on the power cab already. But
yeah,
but yeah, that's the whole point is that it was like okay before a power cab, whether it was a cab model in your model or an IR, it's still a mic'd up guitar cab. I think
yeah,
with the IRs, there's a little more wiggle room because it's like a profile, right? It's like tailored to taste, so it kind of comes
mm,
out of the box sounding pretty good. Um,
yeah,
but it's still like a recorded guitar tone coming through whatever you're hearing it through. So you said you have an alto speaker, so it's like
yeah,
a recorded guitar tone through there or
yeah,
through studio monitors like this JBL right here or a PA
yeah.
speaker or something. But then people go stand in front of a 412 and be like, "Oh, my little 8-inch PA speaker with a modeler attached doesn't sound like my
Doesn't,
412
so,
stack." Well, A,
yeah,
physics, and B, it's again, it's not apples to apples, and that's the same thing with the well, a little less so with the power cap because it's like, okay, now you've gotten feel wise and tonally the amp in the room sound, but again, you're not going to make a power cab 112 or a power cab 212 sound like a 412. Like that was
yeah,
why we put the numbers in the name because it's like that's what it is. It's a 112 or a
yeah,
212. You can only
yeah,
move so much air, right?
yeah,
You can't fake moving air.
yeah. Now, can you load IRs in the power cab, or was some of the upper models do that, or how does that work?
In the plus models. So the 212 is
Okay.
only comes in a plus. The 112 there's
Yeah.
like a just a 112 or 112 plus. But honestly, I it's very rare that I would recommend the standard 112. Um,
Mhm. Yes, I know that.
it's because it's kind of like a set and forget it thing. You don't
Yeah.
you don't have any digital in and outs, so now you're going analog out of whatever it is into
Yeah.
that. So there's another step of conversion. You don't have any remote control, which to me it's like, well, then my hands are tied. It might as well just be an FR cab at that point.
Right.
And it has the speaker models, but unless you never change your amp model and you're always playing electric guitar, then what's the point? So that's mainly why the only thing I've personally found useful, and it's actually the power cab that was in this shot. Where'd it go? Anyway, when you were looking at the Helix, you saw a little bit of another power cab 112. That's a
Mhm.
standard one that I just use in the studio because I've got Helix native when I'm recording, and I'll
Yeah.
send. So I have it coming over the studio monitors, of course, with the whole mix, but then I'll send just that guitar out, like the output of native. I'll do a send out an analog
Hmm.
output to that power cab just so I can get a little bit of that air moving,
Yeah.
in the room. But that just
Yeah.
stays in flat mode because in Helix Native, I'm using all cab models because, again, it's recording guitar.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you'd have to mic anyway if you were using a cabinet. So.
exactly. So it's like, why, I'll just use the cab models, or if you like IRs, use an IR. But
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't really gotten into IRs. I mean, I've had the Helix. What? It's June, probably 7 months, something like that.
hmm
And I still have a lot of stuff to learn in terms of the cabinets and the amps. And a lot of the amps right off the bat don't interest me because they're like sound like metal to me.
hmm
I'm more into like the edge of breakup and clean stuff and trying to a lot of times I spend my time trying to duplicate what is on a record because I'm playing covers.
Yeah. What?
So I found, there's a number of amps that do well for me that I go back to.
Mm-hmm. What are
So,
your favorites?
well, actually, one of the ones I used to have before I had the Helix and before I had the Pod,
Mm-hmm.
I had a Digitech RP 1000,
Yep.
which I fell in love with the Mesa Boogie emulation on that.
Yep.
So I tend to go for that in the Helix,
That's cool.
and I'm using usually the cleaner one. But I go to the jazz chorus all the time. That's if I need a clean sound, that's the first thing I go to. And I'm just starting to, on some people's recommendations in the groups, explore some of the other amps that are fairly clean sounding.
Have you played with the cartographer at all?
Um, what is I hate to tell you this,
Yeah.
but I've got Ben Vesco's mod,
Mm-hmm.
so I see the real amp name, so I'm losing track of which amp is
It's
which.
called the cartographer.
Yeah,
That's what it is. It was
let me. I've got HX Edit here. Let me take a look at what that looks like.
So I didn't even hear about this mod. What's that all about?
Oh, this is somebody.
I know who Ben is.
Yeah, he made up a couple of I guess they're JSON files they're called,
Mm-hmm.
and if you replace them in the Helix resources folder,
Mm.
it gives you the actual names of all the
On the
amps
unit
and
or just
effects
in HX Edit?
in HX Edit.
Okay.
Yeah, on the unit it stays the same, which is a good thing I think because I use HX Edit, but when I want to know when you say cartographer,
Yeah, you can look
I
at.
can look on the screen and see what the amp's line
Gotcha.
6 name is.
Yeah. Well,
But
that's technically a Line 6 original, but it is based off a real amp.
okay,
It's
okay,
it's Ben Adrian, the sound design manager's like custom amp that he modded over the years.
yeah.
But that one's cool because it's like just it's probably the most versatile amp in there because you can go anywhere like to all extremes. Um,
Uh-huh.
Another one, if you like that kind of breakup bluesy thing, is the Litigator. That's an original line 6 original.
I think I've been using the Litigator Clean, they call it.
I think there's just the one model in there, but
Just the one.
yeah.
There's a couple of them that have clean and other models that I'm finding that I'm experimenting with the clean ones and they're giving me some good results. And also the Fender amps, I've been finding those pretty nice for that just slight breakup to
Mm-hmm.
begin with. And then you throw an overdrive or I rarely ever use the distortion pedals, but I usually use overdrives to get the kind of tones that I want on the leads.
Okay. Yeah,
But
the Litigator's good, but also the Archon clean. That's
okay,
the PRS Archon.
okay, yeah.
That's like I think a great clean tone as well. That's
Actually, I think I just picked up on that the other day.
yeah. So the dirty one I was using earlier for that drop D was the lead channel of that amp.
Hmm.
But the clean channel is really good too.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it in this mod because I didn't even know that PRS made amplifiers. I mean, I love their guitars; they're great.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the cool things I think about Helix is that it's opened people up to a lot of different amps that they either didn't even know existed or hadn't ever played through.
Yeah,
Like the Rev amps. I mean, they're popular in their own right and they're doing tons of great work on their own. But since those models got in there and they actually allowed Line 6 to use their name, they were like, yeah, like let's put it in there. Why not?
that's
I
cool.
think a lot of Helix users have gone out and bought Rev amps because they like
Hmm.
the model so much. And their amps are amazing, and they're pretty. Most of them are pretty compact too.
Hmm.
As far as tube amps go. But yeah, though that like if you want to play with some cool high gain stuff, check out the Rev models as well.
Yeah, my big disappointment when I first got the Helix was that I couldn't find clean sounds fast enough.
Yeah. Well, they generally go. Um, I think the list is pretty, other than the originals, is pretty much clean to starting to get dirtier, and I think like later they added a few clean ones in
You
between.
mean in the progression of them? Because I could never figure out how they
In the model
arrange these
list.
things. I always thought, you know, it's like, why don't you put it in alphabetical? All these things, it's like I gotta look through a million things to find what I'm looking for, even if I know what it is.
Yeah, if you go, let me
So I
see.
see that a lot of them are grouped together, like the Marshalls are pretty much grouped together, and the Fenders are all pretty much grouped together.
Hmm.
But if you could tell me, so what do I got? I got a Hiwatt, I got a Supro, I got a Gibson, I got some oddball thing. I got a bunch of Fenders, Grammatico Fenders. They're like all mixed up.
Well,
They're,
here's an interesting thing. If do you still have the factory preset set list?
yep.
So if you go to factory one, the first, I don't know how many banks, but a good number of the first several banks are
Mm-hmm.
organized. So preset A is clean, B is a little dirty, C is a little bit crunchy, and then D is like a solo tone. So if you
Oh,
go to
okay.
like 1A is clean, 2A is clean, 3A is clean, because
Okay.
they all go like each bank of 4 presets is
Yeah.
like clean to dirtier, like A through D.
All right. Well, that's good to know. For one thing, I you know, in my typical oddball fashion, I opted to have the presets in sequential numbers instead of with the A, B, C, D thing. So that would have never even occurred to me that there might be a
Gotcha.
connection between what I have as being 000 and 003 or 004.
Yeah, well, that comes from back in the day, um, how they used to set up tones in like the pod and stuff.
Yeah.
But if I go, let's see. So let me turn off the gate on this microphone. So if I'm looking at, I'm on factory one, which
Mhm.
let me switch my camera here to there. So factory one, this is the double norm. Let's
Yep.
see here. Oh, I had to put it back to preset mode. So I've got, this is a Fender Twin, obviously, right?
Yep.
So if we go, then AC30, right? A little dirtier. The Plexi Jump, really heavy. And then the Rectifier, which is super high gain, but it's clean, right? And then the same with Bank 2. I've got the Tweed, a little dirty, but it's cleaner. AC15, a little crunchier. The 2204 Marshall, and then the Ubersonic, which is the Ubershaw. So that's how they go. And if I go to like, right?
Hmm.
Oh, I'm in like another tuning here. There's another Fender Twin.
Yeah.
But the like Bank 3 is all the matchless. So like channel 1, the clean channel, channel 2, the dirty, then the jump, and then this angle fireball. But let's see what else you got. AC30, Supro, pretty clean. Our beloved JC120, Fender Deluxe. What else we got? This is Soldano, I think.
So did you just have presets across the bottom, or are those all presets?
Oh yeah, so this is 8 presets. So
Yeah.
this is
Is that
bank.
generally how you keep it, or do you use
No,
snapshots views, or do you switch between them?
that's a good question. So when I'm programming a sound, I'll put snapshots along the top or bottom, and then I'll put like
Hmm.
um, I'll put stomps on the other row. So that's what I was doing
Okay.
earlier. I had stomps up here, So that
Oh
way,
yeah, I remember.
that way I can just touch them and quickly edit stuff. Like I'll just
Yeah.
put the 4 stomps that I'm gonna mess with the most, and then I'll
Well,
put
that's a
four.
good way to edit if you're editing on the unit itself. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then I'll put the 4 snapshots on the other row. But then when I'm playing, I'll do a combination of presets and snapshots. So what I do is I'll do a preset per song and then 4 snapshots in each song.
That's
So
what I do.
because
Exactly.
I'm not gonna mess with stomps when I'm playing, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I do.
yep. So I'll do right here preset snap. So I like what I'm gonna access the most. I'll put on the bottom row. In this case, snapshots. So then I
That's
could
what I
have
do.
like the top 4. Excuse my foot pointing here, but that would be song 1, 2, 3, 4, and then each song has 4 snapshots. So verse, chorus, bridge, solo. It's pretty much.
That's exactly what I do.
Yep. I just find that to be the most practical.
Yeah.
I don't like messing with too much when I'm you know trying to remember what the hell freaking chord or note comes next.
Yeah, and 4 snapshots seems to me, I rarely ever need more than 4 per song.
Yeah. So.
Rarely.
Yep. So that's kind of what I do. The other thing we were talking with Alec earlier about automation, right, and not having to be back at your Helix. So that's kind of the next evolution of things, which is like it works best if you have like a pre-programmed show, but I mean everybody has like a set list they're gonna do and songs, pretty much trying to mirror their album, right, even in original work. So if you have like and a lot of people will play with backing tracks, right, which could be the alternative if you don't find a thing that suitable to play live. But like this company Cymatic Audio, they make these backing track players that in addition to audio they actually can play back the MIDI sequence as well.
Oh.
So and Stevic from 12 Foot Ninja has done this too, and other bands do. I mentioned Steve Vai has like a laptop playing back a Pro Tools rig, but it's also spitting out a click for the drummer, and it was spitting out MIDI cues for the video sync, right? But so you could do it with a laptop or you could do it with one of these players. But basically, as the track plays and you hear the audio backing tracks, there's MIDI commands that you could spit out to, let's say, your Helix to have it change presets at the right time or snapshots at the right time or whatever in sync with the song.
Yeah.
And then you never have to touch a foot switch except the first one to hit, let's start the show. Bam.
Yeah.
And then all you're doing is worried about strumming the right notes.
I'll leave that for when I have a technician to take care of it for me.
Well, that's the thing is like once it's programmed, like you just
you don't have to worry about it.
Hit play and then that's it. This guy Trey from Gear Gods, he uses that as well, and he has actually. Let me see if I'm gonna pull up. Let me just change the camera. I'm gonna pull up his website. Where was it? Hold on a minute. There's Chrome. Oh, I have your call there. So let's see. Gear Gods. HX Stomp. So I'm going to pull up. Where did it go? He has.
My cat is starved for attention over here.
Oh yeah, I think my dogs are outside the door. I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Not just to pay attention to my dogs, but to pay attention to my wife too.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey, you know what I want to ask before it occurred to me before we go? The input blocks on the Helix. These threshold and decay controls. I don't really know what to do with them. I mean, the impedance for the guitar, I've messed around with that, and I can see what that does, but I have no idea what to do with these other two controls. You probably have an idea of what's going on there. I have no clue.
Sorry, I was just pulling this up. So on the input block, you have, which ones did you not know what to do with?
Threshold and decay, which are turned off by default anyway.
Yeah, so that only comes into play when you turn on the input gate. So that's just like you could have a gate block if you want, but rather than sucking up a block just for a gate, there's one in the input block.
So, in other words, like in a place of a noise gate?
Yeah, it's a noise gate. So you could just your threshold is when does that gate kick in,
Yeah.
right? And then the decay is like just how long it falls off, right? Before.
So that would affect your input signal. Most of the time when I have to use gate, it's something because of my effects loop ends up picking up a lot of noise. So that's where I end up having to put a noise gate. I don't know that it would be helpful for that, would it?
Only if you had like your effects loop as the input.
Yeah.
It's the same gate that's in the gate block. So if you have like your effects loop in the middle of the chain somewhere and a gate after that, then you're doing what you need to do for that. But like let's say if you weren't using the bottom path for anything and you had something coming in the effects loop and that bottom path, the input was the effects loop, right? Return, then you could use that gate there without having to take up another block.
So let me think this through. I could have like my path 1 be my guitar and effects, and then have my path 2 be coming from my effects loop.
Yep.
And how would that tie in with the rest of my setup?
So what's coming in
your
coming in your effects return again? Your synth stuff?
Well, the only thing I have in my effects at this point is a freak out pedal. So it's got to have the guitar coming into it in order to work.
Oh, well, in that case, I mean, then that would go in your guitar signal chain like you're doing now. But I was saying, like, let's say you were using return 3 and 4 for backing tracks or something. You could have those come in the bottom path, right, where the input is effects return 3 and 4, and then you could apply a gate if you needed it, for noise or something else there. And then if you wanted to add something else on top of whatever's coming in, you could put blocks there. But
so the only real use of it probably in a traditional setup would be if you have like single coil pickups that are humming or something like that.
Yeah, or so, like with like if you're doing a heavy metal kind of thing and you've got like really high gain pickups and you want like really tight, chugging stuff, you don't want like any of that kind of excess noise,
which is not something I ever do.
Yeah, that's traditionally where people use a noise gate on like the very first thing coming in from after the guitar.
Yeah.
But here, let me show you this. Oops, hold on. Of course. Let me switch back to here. All right, you can see my screen now, right?
Yes.
All right. So this was this video tray from Gear Gods. If you go to that channel, you can find it. This was like how to build an all-in-one rack for your band. So, he has like his in-ear monitor set up here and this power amp, I think, for driving some cabinets. But on this shelf, he has this backing track player and a bunch of HX stomps. And we'll fast forward here. There it is. So this is where he talks about how this is for him and the other two guys in the band. I think one's a bass player, another guitar player. But this is that backing track player I was telling you about where they actually...
The one he's got his hand over?
No, this one above it here.
Okay.
This is just, I think, a audio interface or something. But this thing here, this Cymatic audio player, so these are the audio outputs for the actual backing tracks, but then there's a MIDI out that goes daisy chain to these three. So that way at whatever, once it goes from verse to chorus, and the chorus, there's MIDI commands that may tell, all right, this one go to this preset, this one go to a different one, this one go to another one. And that all happens. So this all just sits in a drawer in a rack off the side of the stage or behind them.
So is that triggered by the click track or something? How does that synchronize?
The MIDI is saved as part of that playback file, so that it has.
Oh, because they're playing along with it.
Yeah, so they just.
I can't imagine doing that. That would be hard.
It from everybody I know that have done it, they said it's really liberating because they don't have to worry about stepping on anything. They just.
Well, yeah, I mean, not so much that as keeping it synchronized. I guess you would have to. I mean, if you're used to playing to a click track, it probably is not a big deal.
Well, I mean, they also have backing. I mean, if they weren't playing in time, their backing tracks would be out of sync too. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
So,
exactly.
So yeah, like
good monitors.
Exactly, and usually, like, if in the instances I've seen setups like these where they have a live drummer, the drummer has a click track in their ear, so the drummer's keeping everybody else honest. You know?
Yeah, I wish I was in that situation.
But it's great if you don't have a drummer, because then you just put your drums in the backing tracks and then you're always in time.
Yeah. The guy that's playing drums for us at this point is pretty good. He plays all instruments. He plays keyboard, he plays bass, he plays guitar. And I think, my experience playing with a lot of amateurs is that they lose track of tempo.
Mm-hmm.
And they're constantly rushing the band, and worse and worse as the night goes on, and of course they get louder. But this guy, I think, is going to be more dependable. He may or may not end up being the drummer, depending on the final personnel that we settle on.
Yeah.
But that would be nice, because I'm tired of having to, slow down a drummer all the time, trying to drag him back where it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's if you don't have a good rhythm section, the rest it's hard to make everything else good.
Yeah, it's hard because I'm not a super good player, but I do find that most of the time I'm playing with people who have not got the education that I have in music.
Yep.
So I'm often having to teach them as we go along, which I don't mind. I used to teach music, so it's fine with me. But if you got somebody who's speeding up and you're trying to play, a lead over it, at some point it becomes crazy, because I don't do that crazy thing that kids are doing today.
Oh, with the tapping and all that. Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Me neither. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever will be, but yeah. No, so that's just some interesting things to think about too. Not that everybody will do it, but
oh, sure.
Like it's to just focus on. I mean, because you're entertaining the audience too, not just playing music for them. But that's typically where I've seen those things where like they got to put on a full show. There's lights, there's like interacting with the audience, there's dancing around on stage. So it's like, they're not foot gazing all the time, stepping on.
Yeah, pedals. It's a whole nother level of performance.
Yeah.
That you gotta cater to that audience if you're getting paid to do it.
Yeah, but it's kind of great too to not ever have to think about like, oh, what preset or snapshot or whatever do I need for the. It's like it just happens.
Yeah. I kind of keep telling myself that, well, it's part of the performance, you got to know. And I rehearse at home, pressing the preset at the right time and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it would be freeing. You're right.
Yeah, no, totally. But yeah, I think we'll probably be able to figure out a solution for you for the Fishman thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could take the. Well, actually, yeah, you've got it's got USB on the foot controller, so you could go USB to one of those little NUC things, or just some microcomputer that's headless, running your soft synth. You could there's tons of those like standalone VST players and stuff, and you could probably. I don't know how handy you are with scripting, but you could probably find somebody that's already done it, and just whenever you turn it on, it just boots up into that and loads, that program.
Yeah.
And
well, I'm not so much worried about that as just, having what I need. I mean, I'm not a scripter. I'll never be. I mean, I used to teach HTML, but that's as far as I go.
Yeah. But I
But
mean, once you have it
really,
loaded, yeah, then it's
I
just.
want what I really want. I think is quite simple.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing is, I need to go one step up from doing this patch plus patch minus thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is what the foot controller does.
Yeah.
You're moving up. But what I want to play is 17, places away from where I am now. I don't want to have to be stepping on that
Well,
thing
yeah,
17
then
times to get there.
in that case, you could do that stuff with the Helix. So really, all you would ever use this for is a receiver for your Fishman pickup to get
That's my plan.
to get the notes out, to MIDI.
Yep.
And
that's
then,
what I want.
Yeah, so then you have the MIDI out of that Fishman pedal just to send note data to the
whatever kind of sound module
the other
or computer.
thing, right? And then you could have the Helix tell that thing go to this preset sound or whatever.
Let me ask you one last thing. Is there any other software package that I should be looking at, as opposed to the Fishman software, for performance purposes?
I mean, there's well, when you say the Fishman software, what do you?
It's
you mean?
I don't know. You haven't messed with it for a while, but basically it's
Oh yeah, they have their own player, right, or something. Like you can load instruments.
They have a player that allows you to tune your guitar to what do you call it? Get your strings so that the right volume and the pickup, and also you can load all these different sounds, and you can mix different synth sounds together to make a sound which is probably even beyond what I want to do at this point. But it's just a way. I mean, you can double click on the screen to get the synth sound that you want, as opposed to doing it with your foot. So just like in the like if you had your Helix set, so you just had the bank control. That's what this thing does. But with the software, you could go like I do in the Helix and change presets, and I jump like 17, 20 presets at once.
Yeah,
it's a lot more convenient to do that.
I don't even think you'd need their software. You would just need, again, that FC1 controller to spit out the notes to whatever soft synth you have, and then have the.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that is the soft synth, the Fishman software, as far as my understanding of it at this point, because I can't get a sound out of the Fishman without that piece of software. That's all I know how to do.
So it won't spit out the notes out of this. I haven't even. I got to try that.
No, this is the reason why I'm having issues here is because, and I knew when I was going into it that this was going to happen, but that's why I initially bought that little module that I showed you earlier, that we talked about earlier. There's no sounds in the Fishman unit, zero.
Well, I know there's no sounds in here, but like I thought that's again why I got this too. I thought that this would alleviate the need for their software.
Nope. Oh. It's not. It does nothing. All it does is it will.
Well, now I remember. Now I remember why I stopped using it, because I didn't want to be tethered. I mean, the only other option is to not use the Fishman and use something like one of the Roland GK products.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's debatable, but some people have told me they like the tracking better on the Fishman stuff, and that could be because they have that software that's harnessing the power of your computer and not putting it on a piece of hardware like the Roland stuff.
Yeah. I saw a video a couple days ago in looking around about this guy. There's a really intelligent guy who is like a studio engineer or something, and he uses the Roland stuff, and he's used it for years.
Yeah.
And I messaged him on the YouTube comments, and he came back and he told me that, as he recalls, the Fishman actually had better tracking than what he uses.
Yeah, that's what most people generally kind of say. But yeah, it's like, where do you want your pain point to be? Do you want it to be in the tracking or the fact that you got to use a computer?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think that's the drawback. All the Roland stuff that I have has all been discontinued. I mean, they do still have some current GK equipped modules,
It's like a 1000 out now, and it costs like almost what a Helix LT
But
does.
that I think just does it off of audio. I don't know if that has if that needs the GK thing or
Oh,
not.
okay.
I think that's just all off audio. There's
Oh,
the Boss G, I think it's GKP10 or something like that. It's like a little orange box. That's how you'll recognize it. But that that one has a GK input. But the downside with it, it's like you're either with a Roland system with arguably worse tracking and you're cabled, but then you have your sounds in a hardware unit, or you got the Fishman, which supposedly has better tracking and it's wireless, but then you're dealing with a computer. So I think that's
well, the wireless aspect of it, I don't even care about because I use VDI here.
exactly. So
So
it might
that's
it might be, you know, not saying like it's the silver bullet solution, but it might be worth, if you can either try one, or just considering like maybe going to the Roland direction, because
yeah,
that if you're tethered anyway, you don't have, you're not missing the wireless benefit.
yeah.
The only thing is the tracking might not be, now that you've played the Fishman, it may not be as good to your liking. But I mean, I'll have to do a whole show on all the different guitar synth stuff, but I've got a ton of GK equipped products that you know have all their own built-in sounds, and you
Well, I'm
can,
sure they must be fine because this guy's a pro player,
yeah.
and if he's using it, it's got to be good enough to perform it.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that,
I've seen tons of folks play live with, even the older stuff, like the original one I had, like the GR33, and for a live show, it's like it's totally good. Like the audience, most of them aren't gonna care. They're just gonna be like, "Oh, it sounds good." Again, right? It's only
yeah,
gonna be the musicians that are,
yeah. We obsess over this stuff, but people don't care much about
yeah.
it.
So, well, cool, man. I've been streaming for 2.5 hours, and I
Oh
appreciate
my goodness! And I've been with you the whole time.
you have been, whether on video or just in the chat, and I really appreciate
Yeah.
it, man. It's good. I'm glad we
Well,
got.
I appreciate you coming on because it's great to be able to talk to you one to one, and you're always a great source of information, and I get to tease you.
Yeah, I tease you right back. But it's all in good fun. I'm glad, it's not just you, everybody's learning from this. I'm learning from this. I'm re-intrigued, to dig into this again. And I mean,
Yeah,
that's the fun of all this, right? Is just we get
yeah,
to explore different stuff. But
yeah. Well, I will see you on the forums, and that will be until next
absolutely,
time.
absolutely,
All
man.
right.
All right, thanks so
Thanks,
much.
Andrew.
Have a good one. Take
You
care.
too.
Bye bye. All right. So, for anybody who's still watching, my poor wife is like probably ready to kill me, wondering when the heck I'm going to come down. But this has been fun and interesting. I've learned a lot about the new streaming software I'm using and all the different things going on. Um, and yeah, we had a couple of impromptu guests that we're able to bring in. That worked out pretty cool. Um, Talked about a lot of things, and my wife always asks me, "What the hell do you guys talk about for so many hours?" And it's like there's about 8 million more topics that we could go on about. So I don't know who's still with us, but thanks for everyone that's tuned in. And I'll just play a little something. Nobody else in the chat. Let's go out with a little music, shall we? Grab my pick here. I think I'll just probably mute the mic so you don't hear the strings. All right. I'm in a different tuning. All right. Go out with a little something there. So thanks anyone that was still tuning in for all that or watching it in the replay. And many thanks to my 200 subscribers, of which I think a few tuned in live today. I know everybody's busy with Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, and especially those that are playing guitar, making music. I know there was one dad on the group that got a surprise Father's Day present. Well, not a surprise they ordered, it was a surprise that came early, but they got a white shuriken, which is awesome. And yeah, happy Father's Day to everybody. Thanks for subscribing. If you're new and you want to see more crazy cool stuff with guitar technology, keyboards, studio recording, live streaming, you name it. If it's something to do with music, it's gonna probably appear here at some point. So thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you next time. Rock on, everybody. Have a good one. Take care. Bye now. Okay.